It's time for a cup of coffee with Will and Chris at Slumberland Furniture. From Slumberland Furniture in Osage Beach, here are your hosts, William Holtz and Chris Schneider.
Hey, it's that time for another weekly cup of coffee from Slumberland at the lake. And Uncle Chris, was that another crazy week of football?
Yeah, absolutely. And our last game of the regular season on Lake TV Friday night.
Yeah, we're going to be back in Osage for the regular season finale. We got some great local headlines. Hey, did you hear? Saw a post on Facebook, Central Bank going public?
Yeah, apparently they're going for the big time.
Yeah, we saw that. Plus, hey, we get first initial numbers from inaugural Cannonball Run 2025, and they raised a lot of money. Plus, still some questions about, did the Anheuser-Busch Estate actually sell? Saw an article online, made me wonder, reached out to Peggy Albers. We'll tell you about that and a whole lot more, plus Halloween events to attend this Halloween season. That and more on this week's Cup of Coffee.
Hey everybody, it's Daryl Cunningham with Slumberland Furniture at the Lake. We're in the middle of our mega sale. That gets you deals in every room of the house. You need to come check out all those great deals. And don't forget, we have 0% interest financing for 36 months. And we deliver the entire lake area. Come see us at Slumberland Furniture during the mega sale, where we're bringing happy home.
A cup of coffee as we wake up, in the car, or right here on Lake TV with Will and Chris. Kind of like driving, we do it every single day.
But we shouldn't do it while distracted. Did you know that drivers who text are 23 times more likely to be in a crash? So keep your eyes on the road and always remember to buckle up and put your phones down.
This Drive Safe, Boat Safe message brought to you by Price and Randall Injury Attorneys.
Now back to your cup of coffee with Will and Chris.
Drive safe, boat safe, and trick-or-treat safe as well.
Yeah.
This Halloween season. All right, so as we get started this week, our first local headline, a lot of us bank with or have banked with or are familiar with Central Bank Lake of the Ozarks. They're everywhere, right? Yeah, especially down here in our communities. Well, I saw a post from Dan Geyer on lake area happenings last week.
Yeah, it said, the little bank that could. The Bank of Brumley has come a long way, of course, hooking up with Sam Cooke didn't hurt a thing. Bank holding firm Central Bank Company on Friday revealed about a 6% rise in revenue in the first half of the year. Along with it, has filed for a U.S. initial public offering, moving from over-the-counter, OTC, to a full-blown place on Nasdaq, becoming the latest Missouri financial firm to seek a listing on the big market.
Wow.
Yeah, that's pretty big news.
So a post on Facebook doesn't mean anything in a lot of cases. So I reached out to Jim Judas with Central Bank, and he said, I can't make any further comment about this at this point. But if you go to the Central Trust website, I saw a lot of that came verbatim from that article that Central Bank Company, Inc. files registration statement for proposed initial public offering on October 10th, which is the bank holding company for Central Trust. Stock Titan reported that they filed Form S1 on October 10th for a proposed initial offering of Class A common stock prices and applied to list on the Nasdaq Global Select Market under the symbol CBC. So like I could see them on my Robinhood app,
right,
and be investing in Central Bank stock, which is cool. The number of shares and price range are not yet determined, and the offering remains subject to the market conditions in the states of the federal government shutdown. Now, the board approved a 50-to-1 stock split, and that recorded date is set for October 20th, which was Monday, and distribution date is set for the 24th, which is Friday. Morgan Stanley, among others, are listed as joint book runners, and the offering will be made public only by prospectus when the registration becomes effective, whatever all that means.
Yeah, whatever. That's like financial gobbledygook there.
But it is legit in regards to that this is reported, and I also found this, or substantiated this with articles from Global Newswire, Business Journal KC, Yahoo Finance, Springfield Business Journal, and Stock Titan, as mentioned earlier. And so this made me think, what about Central Bank, at least at Lake of the Ozarks, right? And so they've got quite a history, and Dan Geyer alluded to the little bank that could. The Bank of Brumley has come a long way.
Yeah.
Right? So the Bank of Brumley opened in 1906 with 18 initial stockholders, with Jim Hotkins as president, E.C. Thompson as cashier, and J.C. Warren as secretary. In 1908, E.C. Thompson, who was initially the cashier, became bank president until 1941 when E.C. Thompson passed away. In the early 1960s, Lee Mace and Jim Franklin bought the bank from the original owners, and I believe that's when Sam Cooke came into play in the 1960s. Dan Geyer mentioned Sam Cooke. And in the late 1960s, the bank was sold to Central Trust Bank. Central Bank, original Bank of Brumley, was now part of the Central Bank network, which is wholly owned by Central Bank Company. And so this company, you know, that was the little bank here at Lake of the Ozarks, is now what we know as Central Bank Lake of the Ozarks. But the actual company, Central Bank Company, headquartered in Jefferson City, is its banking subsidiary, the Central Bank Trust. It has been serving business and customers since 1902. The bank is built on a strong foundation of people, this is right from their website, community service and technology. And as of June 2025, the Central Trust Bank is a $19.1 billion Missouri state chartered trust company with banking powers in a Federal Reserve state member bank with more than 156 locations in 79 communities across states Missouri, Kansas, Oklahoma, Colorado, and Florida. And you can reach out and request initial offering details with Morgan Stanley right on that Stock Titan article. So it looks like, yeah, our little Central Bank Lake of the Ozarks, maybe not so little, and they are getting bigger as the Central Trust Bank. They're looking to go public.
Yeah, I didn't realize they had so many locations, 156 in 79 communities, and along with Missouri, Kansas, Oklahoma, Colorado, and Florida. The Florida surprised me because it's such a long way away. But if they do go public, which it looks like they're doing, they're probably going to grow exponentially over the next few years.
Yeah, I love the fact that I bank with Central Bank Lake of the Ozarks. They're everywhere. And I love when I go outside the area and I see that four-leaf clover in green. I know, hey, I can bank here. It's going to be easy to get in and out. But yeah, I did not realize quite how big. And so, hey, if we ever go back to Florida, no, I could go into the bank down there.
There you go. That's what I was thinking too.
Hey, all right. So our next local headline, Cannonball Run, right? And its inaugural year here in 2025 took place in August, same weekend as Lake of the Ozarks shootout. And their initial numbers are in.
Yeah, thanks to Ron Dugan. And he kind of got a late start on this. He did all this in 6 months. In its inaugural year, the event drew an impressive 793 poker hands, generated more than $544,000 in local spending during the week, money that stayed in the community. And Ron Dugan said, "I'm extremely proud of what our team accomplished in just 6 months to make the inaugural Cannonball Run a success. Being able to give over $88,000 to organizations and local charities in our very first year is an incredible accomplishment." It really is pretty amazing what they were able to pull off in that short time.
Yeah, and a huge part of that, as Captain Ron alluded to, this year Cannonball Run also teamed up with Super Cat Fest Lake of the Ozarks, participating in the Super Cat Fest for Kids auction, which helped add even more funds to be distributed to local organizations, schools, and areas of need in our community. The event's success was made possible thanks to the support of more than 65 sponsors, with lots of dedicated community volunteers, community partners, and local businesses. But they're already going to work on 2026, and if this is any indication of how the future of this event looks, it bodes like it'll be very, very well.
Yeah, and from what I understand, the west side of the lake really took great ownership in this event, in helping Ron, because of course there was a big change in what happened with the shootout. They went from Captain Ron's back over to the Osage Beach area, and that just kind of opened up a big chasm of opportunity for the west side, and they jumped on it with this.
Yeah, it was a big first year. Looking forward to year number 2 of Cannonball Run. And of course you can go to captainronsathelake.com and you can find all Cannonball Run info there, and of course on Facebook. But yeah, I anticipate big things, lots of great events and efforts for 2026 with that event. So hey, next headline, Lake of the Ozarks Anheuser-Busch Estate, right? We told you in July of this year that we believed it had sold, and that was big news, right? Because this is almost $20 million for this, which would be the most expensive property here at Lake of the Ozarks.
Yeah.
And so we thought it had sold, right? And it may have, but we saw a recent article this last week from Doc Holliday with KSIS Radio saying inside Missouri's $21 million Lake of the Ozarks mega property. And so I reached out to Peggy Albers to see what, if anything, she could share, because we do know in July it looked like it was going under contract.
Yep.
They had multiple offers, and she was looking forward to sharing visions and plans of the new ownership team, what they were going to do there. And so I reached back out to Peggy, and I want to kind of find out, a couple months removed from that July announcement, like, hey, anything happening? And we all know, like with a property of any magnitude, but especially that magnitude,
Yeah.
a lot that can happen between making offers and getting to the closing table and a change in ownership.
No doubt. And that place is special. The Anheuser-Busch property, they were helped out by the legendary Koppler Brown family in putting that whole estate together. And some big decisions were made on that Anheuser-Busch estate. They decided to go with Bud Light at a meeting there on that estate and everything. I think you went over there and did like a special on that property a couple of years ago, right? And it was really cool to see. It's amazing. But they say this is like the most expensive property in the state of Missouri right now. So, I mean, it's a big deal. It'd be sad if it did fall out and it is still for sale. Maybe, hopefully it did sell, but if not, that's a gem sitting there for somebody.
Yeah, you won't be able to replicate that property. We did feature that with Curtis OC and Lakeside Constructors, and I mean, that was unbelievable.
Yeah.
It's got so many houses, tennis courts, pools, way cool. But hopefully we'll get an answer.
I thought you were going to buy it, I mean.
Yeah.
Just open your wallet and give them $21 million.
And give him a Patrick Mahomes rookie card. I mean, will that do? That's hilarious. All right, so hey, we've been following the situation with the city of Camdenton and the FBO license as far as the Camdenton Airport.
Yep.
And after last week, or a couple of weeks ago, it was shot down, the extension for Lake Aviation, to extend the lease agreement as the FBO. It looks like they've actually are going to extend the contract with Lake Aviation.
Interesting. This thing has got, so many back and forths the last few months. It's kind of hard to know where it's at. I know the city wants to take over management of the airport again. They've been, contracting that out for the last few years. That is going to come to an end. It's just a matter of when, how soon, and how smooth the process is going to be. Like just last week or 2 weeks ago, they weren't going to extend it. Now they are going to extend it.
And I think there's a disagreement in the verbiage and in the contract and in the motion initially made. And so, which is all legalese and stuff that goes way over our heads. But I did talk to Corey Lewerke, and he said that yes, the extension contract, if approved, would extend his contract through December 31st of 2026. Now, he said some things he may not have loved about the details, but he does plan to sign it, as this is going to be best for the future of the airport and will preserve at least one more air show, which is important to note, right? That was one of the big variables, was his contract initially expires May of 2026. There's an air show September of 2026, the biannual Lake of the Ozarks air show that takes place at the Camdenton Airport. And so with that gap, right, how are you going to have somebody ready?
Yeah.
And so they do offer an extension through December of 26, and it should be on the agenda, which takes place Tuesday night, day we recorded. And so we'll have an update for you on that. But he's going to essentially, this being Corey Lewerke, going to essentially be training the city designee as his replacement. And it looks like Lake Aviation will indeed still be the FBO now through the end of 2026. And again, the important part, like that air show in 2026. Like, can you imagine if the city of Camdenton or the Camdenton Airport didn't have the biannual air show, which is with as big as that event has become?
Yeah, and it being such a big show, it's not easy to put together. So it's probably a wise move to extend that through the full year of 26. And hopefully whoever the new administrator for the airport is will be there to see how it all runs and happens and everything, so that the next time it comes around, they got it handled.
I mean, and honestly, Corey Lewerke's been a blessing for the Camdenton Airport and the trajectory of business at the Camdenton Airport, especially that biannual air show. And he had every right to this point say, nope, not going to do it. You guys are on your own. Plan and handle the air show. So it's a big win for aviation in Lake of the Ozarks with the Camdenton Airport, and at least through the end of 2026. And we'll share the results of that vote, which was slated to take place Tuesday night at the Camdenton Board of Aldermen meeting in next week's show.
Yep.
All right, so our next local headline, really cool. You guys are familiar, maybe you're not, but Lake Career Technical Center, part of Camdenton High School, the Camdenton District. And we got a press release, really cool, that the Lake Career and Technical Center partners with the Missouri State Highway Patrol for Patrol University program.
Wow.
So this is something really cool. And after receiving approval from the board last month, the advanced criminal justice students at LCTC participated in their first session of the Missouri Highway Patrol's Patrol University program today. Now, the purpose of this program is to allow students interested in law enforcement to experience various aspects of the Missouri State Highway Patrol while building relationships with patrol personnel. They said the students will interact with different team members, agencies, and learn about diverse law enforcement opportunities such as Marine, SWAT, Canine, Crime Lab, and even aircraft. They will also become familiar with many patrol policies, procedures, and techniques similar to those that are taught to troopers who attend Law Academy or Enforcement Academy. So pretty cool stuff that'll now be offered to the students at
Really
LCTC.
cool. And we need good first responders, obviously. Well, we need good, police people, state troopers. We need great firemen. All of those are so important. Now the federal government is hiring ICE, and apparently, people are applying in droves for that. I saw a number of like 150,000 applications for people applying to be ICE agents and stuff. But this is so cool, and the LCTC is such a great organization. They have so many different areas of expertise where they teach people, mostly young people, but not necessarily. You can be middle-aged and decide, hey, I'm going to get into that.
Sure.
They teach that. And we've talked to several Hall of Fame racers like Myra Coyle, who have gone through that program to learn how to be a marine mechanic.
Right.
It is so cool what they do over there. And Mrs. Dernan runs that place, I think, and just does an amazing job. I need to have her back on the Community Spotlight show.
So that's a great idea, and really cool. Also, Tony Badiato with American Ethanol.
Yep.
But according to Corporal Robert Malone with the Missouri State Highway Patrol, Patrol University gives students a front row seat to the patrol. Every path we offer is on display, from patrol cars to SWAT, bomb squad to Marine Ops, criminal investigations to vital civilian careers. They're going to see it all up close with this program. This is a hands-on look at the grit, discipline, and heart it takes to serve and protect the citizens of Missouri. And worth noting, this is exciting for Lake Career Technical Center because this is the first time this program will be offered to high school age students in the state of Missouri.
Wow, that is so cool. That's amazing. That's a great program.
Really cool. All right, so another local headline from our friends down in Versailles. They've been working on that roundabout, right?
Yeah.
With the routes 52 and 5 going through there. They started it in May. Well, it looks like they've got it complete.
Yeah, I drove through there like a couple weeks ago, and it was still all kind of torn up, and I didn't even know they were putting a roundabout in there. I had to ask my wife, what are they doing here? And she's like, oh, they're putting in a roundabout. So, and some people love roundabouts, some people hate roundabouts. It's going to be interesting to see how this works because there's a lot of traffic that goes through. So crews with the Missouri Department of Transportation, they began replacing the outdated signal right there at the main stoplight in May. While construction's ongoing at the site, the new roundabout supposed to be done this week, right? Ready for business. And they say motorists should use extra caution. Be sure you follow the signs and everything as everybody gets accustomed to the new configuration of this roundabout, because sometimes those are kind of weird, funky to figure out. Missouri Highway Transportation Commission awarded over $5 million contract to S&A Equipment and Builders to do this project. They were tasked to install a roundabout at the junction, expand Route 52 to 3 lanes, one in each direction, and a center turning lane, and replace culverts with larger structures to address flooding issues. That's a lot of what I saw, where they were digging for, to put these culverts in to run the water away and everything. There's a lot of traffic through there. I don't know if that's going to be a good thing or a bad thing, because if you get too much traffic for a roundabout, it just kind of clogs it all down, it seems. So we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. And I know the flooding thing, if you ever went through Versailles, right, when they had heavy rainfall in those ditches or in those areas,
Yeah.
like it was building up. So probably a good thing for that area. Of course, like you said, time will tell.
Because they
Especially,
had like a roundabout at W for a while, or they do now have one in there, but didn't they take one out from there or something? That one there at W drives me crazy. I get going in the wrong direction, and maybe I'm getting old. I don't know.
operator error? I mean,
Could be, yeah.
all right, so hey, Halloween's right around the corner, right? And of course, lots of fun events around Lake of the Ozarks. And so it starts this weekend. First on Saturday, October 25th, you have lots of options. You have Halloween on the Strip from 2 to 5, which is really cool. You also have the Haunted Bookstore Stonecrest Book and Toy from 4 to 6. City of Lynn Creek will have their Trunk or Treat Haunted House from 6 to 8. And Captain Ron's will have their Trick or Treating event for kids from 5 to 6:30. And here's one that's really cool. On Saturday, Riverview Baptist Church is offering free oil changes for single parents or widows from 2 to 3:30 right there in the corner. That's right there, by Subway. You go down there, Lowe's area. But right there on the corner, 2 to 3:30, they're going to offer free oil changes for widows and single parents. Love that.
Wow, maybe I'll put on a wig and run over there.
Yeah, you cheapo. No, you go change your own oil. And then, of course, Camdenton Spooktacular in the park is on the 31st from 4:30 to 8. And the big one everybody always wants to know about is Hy-Vee Hollow.
Yeah.
Of course, is Sunday the 26th. It's the trick-or-treating maze, and it's free to the public. Again, 2 to 5 p.m. You might get there early. That is big. And there's a really cool first-year fundraiser on Saturday, October 25th.
Oh, this one. Okay, the Lake Area Fool Ball of 2025. All right, so the Lake Area Fool Ball will be hosted at Margaritaville, Osage Beach, on the 25th of October. The Fool Ball is the main fundraising event every year that benefits local firefighters.
Yeah.
So it includes firefighters, their families, training, charitable donations. And we were talking earlier about how important the first responders are. There you go. There's another one right there.
Yeah, it's this Saturday, October 25th, and it's the Lake Area Fools. If you want tickets or find out more about the event, reach out to Cody Metler, 573-284-5546. It's just $55 a person.
I thought they named that after us, Lake Area Fools.
It very well could be. It stands for something great, $100 for a couple, and they do have special room rates available at Margaritaville for this event, so really cool. But I always love this time of year because not only the trick-or-treaters coming around, but the fall colors, the leaves are falling, and it cools down, right?
We took our last boat ride of the year last week, and it was so gorgeous with the leaves changing, and it was still warm enough, but the water a little rough because the wind was really picking up. But it's a great time of the year to be out on the water. You got to dress for it or you're going to freeze. And I heard that Margaritaville, the restaurant there, is staying open year round now, which is interesting. That's good for a lot of people there.
Hey, I made my first visit this summer out to it was really early fall, out to Margaritaville. That is a great place for kids with the slides and the stuff there. I mean, I did not realize it had all that. But all right, hey, you know what we love most probably about this time of the year?
Football?
Football.
Yeah, baby.
Real quick, high school, Osage wins 21-0. They're 6-3. They'll be back on Lake TV, but they've already secured the 1 seed. They'll have a first-round bye Friday the 31st, so they get to go trick-or-treating.
Yes, they do. And they got a really tough game this Friday night. You can see it on Lake TV. William Holtz with the call against St. Francis Borgia. Really good program. And it'll be a real good test for Osage going into the playoffs. I'm predicting Osage will win their district championship this year and go to the sectionals. If they win in the sectionals, they're in the Final Four. So, I mean, that's how good that team is this year.
They lost last year to St. Francis Borgia in the regular season, so they'll be eager. And you talked with Coach Jolly on the coaches show this week, and how were his spirits? How was he doing?
Very high, felt really good. They came off a good win over Southern Boone. They've been ranked in the top 10 all year, and they've got the team that if they got the right frame of mind, they're going to be tough to beat.
And win or lose Friday against St. Francis Borgia, they're the 1 seed in their district, and so Class 3, District 4, they will host as long as they can win district semifinals, and then if they win the district championship. So we'll keep you posted on that. Eldon Mustangs, They lost to California on Lake TV's Game of the Week. Were you surprised by that?
I was surprised. I watched the game with you on the call Friday night, and that was a fun one to watch. That was a track meet. I mean, you had like 70-yard touchdown runs all night. The play of the game. Eldon was going in for the game-winning score, and a guy fumbled on the goal line. Great play from the California player, knocking the ball out. But that changed the whole game, and California got their first win.
Yeah, it was a momentum shifter indeed. But the big thing to me was California had not scored more than 7 points in a game all year. They had a total of 20 points scored at 0-7 and dropped 36 on the Mustangs Friday night. So Eldon at 3-5. They're going to be playing Boonville Friday, who is red hot, 6-2, on fire right now. And it looks like week 10 for the Mustangs, they are going to have California or Fulton, because believe it or not, they're still going to get the 4 seed, win or lose Friday in that district. So they'll host Fulton or California potentially.
I'd love to see a rematch of that Eldon-California game. That'd be fun.
Right. Yeah, it's wild. All right, Camdenton Lakers, they lose, but starting to score a lot of points. They've got an opportunity to get their second win of the season at Southeast.
Yeah, they should be able to win that.
Yeah, Southeast 0-8 on the season.
Southeast Kansas City. And Camdenton has gone back to the passing game this season, which is why they're scoring more points, puts more pressure on the defense because they have to go out there and play a little bit more. But you know, Camdenton is sitting in the middle of their district, too. Despite it being a rough year, they'll play in the 4-5 game first week of the playoffs against Jeff City. So that'll be interesting.
I was going to say, they should go to Jeff City, right, in that first round. That should be an interesting one. They lost 17-7 in the opener. Thought they left some on the table. But
they could win that game.
I think they could, and I'm going to make a bold prediction that they will win that game
there you
against
go.
Jeff City.
I'd love
week
that.
10. All right, so what about Mizzou? Barely getting by Auburn in double overtime, but a win's a win, right?
Win's a win. They got it done. Auburn has a really good team, but they find ways to lose, and they did again. To Missouri's credit, you know, they found a way to win. So great win for Mizzou.
This will be the toughest matchup of the season for Mizzou, even tougher than Alabama, because we were in Columbia for that. On the road at Vandy this week, 6-1. Vandy's only loss
team.
Also to Alabama. How about the KC Chiefs as we get away from college? They're so back, 31-0.
Yeah, I'm so impressed with the Chiefs. I mean, and I'm the Chiefs' biggest critic. You know, I thought the magic was over, it's done, but what they've done in the last 2 weeks is amazing. They've started to get those receivers back again, first Worthy and then Rice, and you know, Mahomes is Mahomes. He's magic. He's greatness. He's making a few more mistakes, but, you know, I mean, he's got 3 kids at home, so, you know, you're going to do that. But
please, making more mistakes. Got 19 total touchdowns with only 3 interceptions on the season. He's got 3 kids at home.
They're playing the Bills in 2 weeks, right? That is going to be interesting.
The Bills don't even deserve to be on the field with KC at this rate. But listen, Mahomes is still, in my opinion, front runner for the MVP. But real quick, what's your biggest surprise so far through the NFL season?
The Colts. That they're 6-1, I think. They're just amazing. They're shocking me, and I think they're for real.
Yeah. All right. Best seat in the house weekly update. How about Nick Reese the last 3 weeks?
Was he like perfect this week?
The last couple of weeks, he's been darn near perfect. Him and Vincent Martinez tie at 14, so we'll have a rollover for next week to double the prize. And your updated season standings, Alma Anderson holding strong. She's in a tie with Vincent Martinez at 75. Nick Reese 1 point back at 74. And tied at 73, our very own Uncle Chris and Spencer Wall.
That's right.
How about that?
Just 3 points, 3 games back.
2 games back.
Wow.
75-73.
How about that?
Yeah, you're right there. So it'll be wild. All right, before we leave, gotta always end with the main thing, weekly Bible verse and reflection. This week we talk from Matthew 11:28-30. Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and humble in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light. That is helpful with the stress and the busyness and always trying to stay caught up while focusing on a billion things. Matthew chapter 11, verse 28-30.
That's one of the greatest verses in the Bible right there. I mean, that is a stress reliever.
Indeed, my friend. Before we let you go, don't miss Dr. Paul and Maria Burnaby on the Spotlight Show, the Lake TV Community Spotlight Show. Awesome doctors, and they're pretty neat, aren't they?
Absolutely. And you've got a history with them.
Yeah, my former doctors, and they're awesome. All right, don't miss this week's Game of the Week back in Osage. We'll see you next week.